Watch Who?
Hello, and welcome to To Watch Who, a Doctor Who podcast. I'm Mark.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm a Doctor Who fan.
And I'm new to watching Who.
Yes, watching for the very first time.
Very first time.
Yeah. And we are midway through season 7.
Midway?
Midway. Oh,
you said it now, it's out there.
Yeah. It was the Silurians last week, which you sort of enjoyed.
Yeah?
Yeah, and you're getting used to colour in the third Doctor?
Yeah, I'm getting used to the new format, style. It's very different.
Cool, okay. So it's the Ambassadors of Death this week.
Yes, it is.
And I was going to buy some Ferrero Rocher.
Why?
Because it's Ambassadors of Death.
What? Why would I don't? What? Why don't I get this?
You know, like the advert, Ambassador from Ferrero Rocher.
I do not remember that advert.
Anyway.
Before my time, Mark.
So you join us, listener. We're in space control.
Oh, okay.
We are, yes.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
Sarah, you're at the controls.
God help us
Pressing
all.
the buttons.
Does this mean that I'm floating in Recovery 7? And when I say floating, I mean slowed down slightly.
Well, we are connecting to Mars Probe 7 right now. You might have already heard. We've got 2 astronauts up there. Our guests for this week. So, Sarah, press a button and get in touch.
All right. Push.
So
I'm not Katarina.
So, Luke and Chris from the Lost and Gallifrey podcast, are you there?
Hello, are you receiving? Are you receiving? Yes, we're here. Hello.
I don't know about you, but I've not been given my re-entry coordinates yet, so...
No, well, we can't get you down. You're stuck up there now. You're stuck up there.
It's all right. We got the telly on.
In quarantine, I believe, wasn't it? Yeah. Waiting in quarantine.
It's fine. Yeah. So you'll do the episode up there in orbit.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. You've got that little TV thing. You've got that room up there with all the different colours.
I'll tell you what, just already on it, I want to know what the hell's on that TV because they were having a great time. Whatever that show was, they were loving it. They were all laughing away. It was like here it is again. I was like, oh my God, what's that? Why am I watching that? Why am I watching this? That's what I want to know.
That TV is so funky. It's like so 60s, like 60s, 70s kitsch as well.
It is, yeah.
So, do you guys want to tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Chris, do you want to take this one?
Go on, I'll field this one. Well, me and Luke, mostly him, a little bit of me, we do a podcast called Lost Along Gallifrey, and we've currently just come back with a new format, got a new second show of our new format is about to be released called Last Orders. Basically, it's me and Luke having a sort of, you're down the pub with your nerdy Doctor Who mates, you might have just been to a Comic-Con or... just want to get drunk. And the topic goes to Doctor Who, and that's what we're trying to emulate. So, a small 40-minute long to an hour show where we just sort of ramble on. I mean, our first episode was Drunk Doctor Who, any episodes you've seen on the wrong side of inebriated. And we had a whale of a time with that. Our next show, which is coming out this week, is obviously all about the big news that... Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker are leaving the show in 2022. So we've had a good discussion about that, what we want to see for the future of the show, and a good old drunken ramble about and celebration of obviously the Chibnall years.
Celebration.
I've all this to come.
Yeah, I was going to say did you know that
What?
She's leaving?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
fine.
do have our Twitter. I follow our Twitter.
Okay, fine.
Just a little mention as well. We also have a sister show, a side show called Gallifrey
All right, it's their
Podcast.
podcast, mate. Fucking hell.
Oh, come on, I want to just...
Keep going.
Keep going.
It's my first time guest starring. I've got to sell. That's what I'm treating this like an episode of QVC prime time, this. We run a sister show called Gallifrey's Lost Gems, where we review like the most recent Big Finish releases or books or other, expanded media of Doctor Who around the main show. So if you find that interesting, if you're interested in what me and Luke think of drunk Doctor Who or anything like that, or what we think of the latest Big Finish set, please tune in to Lost on Gallifrey. We're on Amazon Podcast, iTunes. We're on Apple Music, aren't we? Podbean, Podstar. I don't even know if that one.
You name it, you're there, basically.
Spotify, we're on that. And I'm sure we're somewhere in the ether somewhere, Lost on Gallifrey, obviously broadcasting on Mars. So
Very nice.
To be fair, Mark has experience not so much of being drunk watching it, but most of Mark's stories seem to be him hungover watching Doctor Who.
No, they're not.
Yes, Mark, I'm sorry. The number of stories where you're like, I was feeling a bit sick because I've been out the night before.
No,
so I just thought, a bit of comfort and I'll put Doctor Who on.
No.
Yeah, you do. That's like...
No.
Yeah. So many of your stories. You know, when we go back in time, Mark, when was your experience?
Yeah,
Well, my
that's
experience,
like-
I was in
not.
university and I was hungover. Oh, I do all the time. Yeah.
Not that much.
You're usually ill.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Because you're hungover
right.
or something.
No, I think I'm just
Mark,
ill.
you have terrible hangovers.
No, I'm just ill.
Right, come on, Mark. Keep us on straight
anyway,
now. Right, come on.
Anyway, well, actually, I was going to ask you both. You came to Doctor Who through the new series, didn't you?
Yeah.
yes, we did. Yes,
So both with Christopher Eccleston.
No.
not
Oh.
with you. No, I did, and he got on board in series 2. I think Tooth and Claw's the episode you always say was your first.
Yeah, I remember
usually.
catching a werewolf on the telly. That's sort of where I sort of fell into it. But I didn't properly watch it until series 3, really.
Wow.
I was kind of brought up on it. My dad's a massive science fiction nerd. He's been on our show. My dad as a guest.
Oh.
He pretty much said, right, this is going on the telly every week, and I fell in love with it straight away. And in that Christopher Eccleston run, I actually made a paper mache Dalek when I was 8 out of old egg cups and all sorts of things. I did it as a school project, and it was
I love that so much. That makes my ovaries burst. Oh, I love that.
Okay.
All right, men.
Anyway, right. So what was I saying?
I never know, love.
Okay, so when did you first see this particular story, or the Third Doctor?
Oh, it was probably Inferno for me for Third Doctor, which is the next story after this, because I used to get the DVDs, and that was one of the really early ones, wasn't it? I've got no idea when I first watched Ambassadors of Death, though.
this is my first time with Ambassadors of Death. I'm also first time club. But I also, my first time with John Pertwee, I was scrolling through the horror channel of all places, channel 270 odd or whatever it is. Because I was looking for TV, I think it was hungover on a Sunday morning when I was about 19 back at home, and Claws of Axos just happened to be on. I was like, oh God, I'll give this.
I was like, Mark.
So yeah, I didn't have this one on video or anything, so I only watched this the first time when it came out on DVD. So I've probably only watched this a couple of times before.
Can I ask, so you watched the new series. What made you go, I want to go back and watch this old stuff? Was it just I've really got into this? Or because I find it so different.
Yeah, it is. I think someone got me a DVD, and then that weird sort of Doctor Who collection impulse takes over there. I think every fan has, and suddenly you end up with every episode ever on DVD, don't you? They used to come out once a month, and you get about £10 a month pocket money, so that was about timed pretty well. So that was about it. Yeah, I don't rate. It's inexplainable, really.
I mean, it was a mixture of, there were two great forces that pushed me to Classic Who, my dad and you. Because I think I'd always wanted to do it, but I wanted to do it with my dad. And then he was always busy, or we always ended up watching something else, normally Trek or Star Wars. We actually did all of the original series of Star Trek. We have done it. And I think it was going round your house and watching Pyramids of Mars. I think might have been my first classic outing. It's the first one I remember anyway. It might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure first classic I watched was Pyramids, and I really liked it. And it's just spiraled from there. I mean, I'm collecting the. I know you guys got the DVDs. I'm collecting the the big collection box sets. I'm trying to get all of those if I can. I've had to have a couple of reprints here and there, but for the most part, it's all kosher as far as I can see. So,
Chris, were you doing a marathon? Am I right in thinking you were going through?
Yep, and you're already past me. Well done. I've been doing this marathon on and off for about 5 years, and I can't. I've stalled. I stalled on Ice Warriors, and since then I've just been drip fed my way through because obviously I'm watching odd episodes of Doctor Who every fortnight or so for the pod, and it's like I could continue a marathon here, but I'm going to watch this and I'm going to watch that, and now it's become so muddled up in my head because I've obviously done all the other episodes out of order. I'm just thinking I might as well just not do it in order and just go for it now. Because I've done like most of Sylvester McCoy's run, I've done most of Colin's run, I've done a couple of Pertwees here and there. Tom Baker, I've not actually done a lot of really, so I've got all the best bits that I'm waiting to do.
Oh, that's really good having new stories to discover.
I'm very jealous of it, yeah.
Well, it's all right if it's a good story.
Yeah, I suppose so. Well, no, the Space Pirates, we really enjoyed that. That was pretty much new for me.
Surprised at that.
I'm dreading it.
No, it's not as bad. It's not as bad as what people say.
You've got to go in with an open mind. I go into it all with an open mind because I still wouldn't call myself a fan in that I don't choose in my spare time to watch it. I kind of like...
I like Mark's got a gun to your head or something.
Yeah. No, Mark's like, right, in the diary, you've got to watch this now, you've got to watch this. I'm like, all right, okay, yeah. But, like, if I've got a night off, I don't think, oh, do you know what, I'll put on, like, Keys and Marinus, you know. Of course. So in that sense, I don't consider myself a fan because I feel like to be a fan, you've got, like, that sort of urge. So that's something.
You are right. There's an impulse that's like, what should I watch? Well, there's no point watching anything else. That's sort of like the weird Doctor Who fan impulse.
And there's some shows that I have that for. So in that sense, I'm like, well, I'm a fan of those shows. I appreciate it and I come in with a really open mind. So I'm like, okay, well, let's just see what is going to happen. And if it's shit, like, I will let Mark know, why have you wasted like 4 hours of my life? I will never get those back.
The shit ones, though, can be really funny. I mean, like, when we were doing the Terminus episode.
Don't ruin Terminus.
We had, it was so much fun. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched, a movie that both me and you are very fond of, The Room, featuring Tommy Wiseau.
I've heard of it, yes.
Or you've seen it or anything like that. But it was that sort of vibe, you know, when you just enjoy ripping on something because it's funny.
But that, for me, is... what was the one with bumblebees?
Web Planet.
That's Web Planet for me, because it was so bad. And to begin with, I was really angry. I was like, this is my life. What the fuck am I doing? And then I was like, hang on, this is so fucking ridiculous. Like, I just like embraced the absolute like hilarity of them going, come on guys, and then like 5 seconds later they move.
Also William Hartnell's hair dryer as well, obviously.
There's just so much that's bad about it that you get to a point when you're watching it, you're like, I've got to keep going. Like, as in, like, this is so bad.
You were really, really kind to it when we were talking about it, and I was scathing with it because you said, "Oh, they're trying so hard, they're trying," and I'm just there like, "No."
I put it on in my spare time.
That's me and Mark though, because Mark will always be the fan, the kind, gentle fan, and I'm the dick, and I acknowledge that. I know my role in this. I'm the brutal, honest. No, Mark, that's shit.
And it's exciting that you don't know anything, though. That is like the best bit of the podcast, is that you don't know.
I really don't.
You don't know who's going when, who's coming in when, who they are, what they're doing. It's just it's really...
Yeah, and that's why you've enjoyed doing this in order as well.
Yeah, just to see...
Sometimes I find Mark watching me as well. That's
just weird. To see the reaction when I know there's something going to happen.
Right. I do that. You got to see it through their eyes. It makes it like watching it all over.
Or he'll go to me, if I'm on my phone at that point, he goes, oh, I'm like, he's really good at that.
Right. Anyway, shall we start going through the story?
Hell yeah, you're gonna.
We've got a lot of story
aren't
to
you?
get through.
So much story.
Okay, so the first thing, actually, the pre-titles for this one, that's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it goes like the
That little
ambassadors
sting.
of death.
Yes. I really like
you
that.
told me about that on our pod when we were recording it. And I was like, you said you're gonna really enjoy it, and yeah, he was right.
It's so good.
It's a really good beginning because you got that tense moment. You got the astronaut in space, and they sort of explain that he's Mars Probe 7. There hasn't been any contact or anything, and so it sets it up really, really well. And then you have that of death coming in. The guy, okay, revelation of the whole thing, and we're just going to go straight into it. The guy that is in the space station in the suit and tie, he played one of the Dominators. I don't know if you guys realise that. He's
When you
one of the
see it, you
Dominators.
can't unsee
Now
it.
you've said it. I
Yeah.
can see his eyes.
Now, once that goes, you can't unsee it. Because after Mark said that, I was like, all I can see is just a different haircut. He had like the bowl cut in the first, and now I'm like, yeah, it's him.
I love him, I don't know why. Ralph Cornish. I just really like him.
He is actually really good at it, to be fair.
He doesn't do anything, but he's just so, I don't know.
He's got a good presence about him. More in this than in the Dominators, where it was like Laurel and Hardy. But this one, he's got like a nice, like, calm presence. He's in charge, but he's like, yeah.
So you go. The Brigadier's already there, and UNIT are overseeing everything. So, Sarah, obviously, the Brigadier and UNIT again. How are you feeling about them turning up in every single story? Because actually, it's a bit like the Silurians. You have the space or the research facility, scientists. It is a very similar format already, isn't it?
Yeah. I said this last time. If I put that on the telly and didn't know it was Doctor Who, I'd think it was a different show. I'd think it was some sort of like, I don't know, James Bond corny knockoff,
I think that's really interesting because I think as a fan, you just accept it. But because you're watching it through as that, I can see totally where you're coming from.
I agree, actually. I think, I'll be honest, like when I was watching Ambassadors of Death, it felt like I was watching an episode of like The Professionals, but, sort of like for kids, or like The Sweeney, but without John Ford kicking people's heads off. I mean, like John Pertwee does that a lot anyway, but, it feels like a really high octane cop show. Like there's a lot of like explosions, and obviously you get in part 2. Just sorry to jump a little bit ahead, but you get like that helicopter scene where it's dropping bombs on people out the window.
Yeah. I said to Mark, I went, when did James Bond start? Because that was in the 60s. I feel like this whole series is for those kids that really like James Bond, and it's like, it plays to that sort of crowd, I guess, but with Doctor Who. Because, it was fine. But I said, I was like, I'm really bored of like just gun shooting, like boo, 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 boo. And it's like, and as you pointed out, there's no music or anything. The music stops, and we just go poo, 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 poo. I'm like, ugh, it's like 5 minutes of this now. I think I skipped one actually. I was like fast forwarding through. I was like, well, they're just fighting, aren't they? Like, I'll get the result at the end of
But
it.
you've still got the sci-fi element.
The gunfight sequences, though, I think they're great.
Do you like James Bond as well?
Depends on the Bond and depends on the movie. Like I like the Daniel Craig films. I like some of the Pierce Brosnan films, not all of them.
Yeah.
Very, very high up there, like Sean Connery.
It reminds me of, because I used to watch with my dad, like we used to watch James Bond together, and it just reminds me of really old Sean Connery, James Bond moments. And I think like, I'm just like, okay, well, here's another fight. Here's another gun shootout.
Do you know what? The newest James Bond film I've seen is Tomorrow Never Dies. with Pierce Brosnan. Which I saw at the cinema at the time.
Mark,
I haven't
should
seen
we go-
anything since
You've been
then.
watching Web Planet too much. Is that what's been going?
When we finally it comes out, we will go to the cinema and watch
I haven't
it.
seen anything after that, after Tomorrow Never Dies.
Oh,
Well,
they
whatever
are
you do,
good.
don't watch Die Another Day. It's shit. Don't watch it.
They are good.
For listeners, this is a Doctor Who podcast.
Anyway, back, what I was going to say, so there's a sci-fi element still. You've got the astronauts and everything like that. And you've got the TV reporter, which is a sort of like very like the news series, isn't it? Telling the audience what's happening, what's going on. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a good idea.
In a few minutes, we shall know the answer to the question that has been occupying the minds of everyone here at Space Control since Mars Probe 7 took off on its return journey from the Red Planet nearly 8 months ago. What has happened to astronauts Frank Michaels and Joe Lafee?
I think it's a bit of a Pertwee. It becomes a bit of a Pertwee mainstay, but this is like the earliest I've seen it.
It happens in the Weather Sphere though as well. You got a bit.
That's very true. Yeah,
I quite like.
You get a big gunfight sequence in there as well in part 4.
Yeah, when there's a reporter there, it always feels like you're going a bit behind the scenes, doesn't it? Like you're seeing the real adventure. I quite like that.
And there's lots of use of the new CSO effects. You know, like some of the astronauts on the screen.
Oh, right,
and then they're talking to people and the screen comes up, like the effects and stuff.
Yeah.
You can see they're sort of experimenting a bit more at this time.
So impressed, actually. I know this is like a show from nearly, is it 50 years old this year? It must be.
Yeah.
This is 1970.
Yeah, so 51 over 50 years old. I was so impressed with the way the sets looked, the effects, and it has dated. I can see that it's dated, but in a when Doctor Who stuff dates, it can either date well or it can date really badly, like it does in the late 80s. I thought that the effects and everything for this was spot on, and I loved the space control set and the live action stuff they were doing. I mean, there was one quaddy there, but at least it actually was a quaddy, and they weren't an alien world.
Oh yeah, I thought the sets and location stuff, like, it was really good.
That sequence on the weird in part 3 is absolutely brilliant. Like, honestly.
But I think that just shows, like, because it's in colour now, they can't get away with things the same like you could in black and white. Because, it makes such a difference. When it's in black and white and you can, you're like, oh, look, they're running that way. Look, they've just turned the camera. It's the same thing. They're running that way. Like, you can't get away with that in colour. You have to step up with it.
I didn't like the bit with the Doctor messing with the TARDIS console at the beginning. I think that was just padding. And just,
we're talking about the best TARDIS control room that there is.
Well, is it? He's got the console thing,
yeah,
and he's messing around with it, and they're just basically showing off effects. Basically, that is why that scene is there.
I don't know what it's about, really.
That said, though, Mark, I said this last time. It reminds you that it's Doctor Who, because
we've not seen the
TARDIS.
He does that thing with the film reel, like makes it disappear, but then he says it's not what happened in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
No, see, I'm not a fan of that.
And I think that's really weird because why? Well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because he did it later and she was like, is it that thing?
Yeah,
and he went, no. He was like, okay, great.
Nice one.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird...
Cheers, mate.
It is a bit of a weird one. And then you end up with the Doctor walking in, upsetting the scientists as usual. A bit later on, that always happens. I'm trying to be a bit more positive on the Third Doctor stuff, which
it's hard for you. I think.
I don't know why I'm finding it really difficult to be.
You're not the biggest fan, are you?
I don't know. I can't. I'm
I'll
not
just
sure.
say he's not.
I don't know. It's just really odd. I just can't. Some stuff I like, but then I think it's because it's very repetitive.
Yeah, this
like the format.
one. But this is the first time I noticed. I said to you, he's really angry. Like.
But he's always a bit like that.
He is a bit of a knob in this, I'll be honest. Like, honestly, that Doctor, Sartan, or whatever, like, he just gets absolutely just mugged off.
I don't know, if you sort of like watching The Knob, then you enjoy John Pertwee, don't you? Like,
no, I love Pertwee in this all the way through. I love and it's the costume as well, like it's the best version of his costume as well.
I just don't like the way he comes in. He's like, yeah, I know what's going on. It's a signal from this. Get the maps up. We'll sort this out.
Does.
Yeah, I know.
That's what the Doctor does, like every bloody story, Mark.
But it's not, I don't know, but it's not like a hero thing. It's just he's just really annoying.
But I think that comes from, I honestly think it's a frustration of it just being sat on Earth, because there's no, like, that idea of him knowing things, it works really well in the wider world, because we don't know. Do you know what I mean? But this is on our, all right, alien things, whatever happening, but it's on our own planet. It's these things that are happening, and he's just, I don't know, he just feels really frustrated all the time. There's just fun. And
He hasn't let out his anger yet. Wait till he lets out his anger.
Wait till he gets the Venusian Aikido out and starts.
He's going to start karate chopping,
grappling and karate chopping and throwing people over his shoulder.
He just feels very frustrated, which I'm sure he is because he's stuck on Earth.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, but also there's just no fun. And you know, I love the second Doctor because he was fun as well. He had like, you know, he's out there exploring and that's what he enjoyed and loved. And this one just feels like, all right, next job, right. I mean, all right, I'm jumping, but even the end.
Oh, we'll get to the end.
Sorry, Mark.
We'll get there. We're not following the order of stuff, but fine.
Mark tries.
Let's just get back on track. So in episode 1, there's a lot of sort of action with Unit and the troops.
Classic.
And everything, but there's no music. The music sort of stops, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
It's really odd the way it.
Whenever there's a
all the
gunfight, there's
the
no
music just stops, and you think that's when the music should ramp up a bit. It's a really odd choice, I thought.
Ba, 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 ba.
The music's good when it's actually on. I think I quite like the sort of dreamscapey music when the astronauts are walking and stuff. But yeah, you are right. There's a lot of times when it's just absolutely.
It's really, really good. Those sort of like slowed down sequences with the astronauts coming in. And I think what they wanted to do with the muting, especially in that first earlier parts, is because obviously all you've got is the signal, which is your only real special effects noise that you get. I think they really wanted that to stand out. And obviously, you get the YouTube poop montage sequence in the middle as well. So I love that. I love that sort of stuff. And it happens all the time in Pertwee's Run. It's brilliant. When they're like screaming like this. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, the hair dryer.
It's a good episode 1. Like, it builds the intrigue and you want to know what's going on and there's a mystery and it is good in that respect. And then the cliffhangers are great throughout. So end of episode 1, I put Bruno is a traitor.
Do you know what makes the cliffhangers good though? How quick they cut off.
Yeah.
It's like, what's happened?
Yeah. And there's lots of like quick zooms as well and things. And
yeah, they're not corny either. They like, because sometimes it can be a bit like, I don't know, like really over dramatic. Oh, you know, like EastEnders ending or something. But they're like
got no doctor face, as I call it. You know, like where the doctor, like he'll just zoom in on the doctor's face and he'll be like this, or like
yeah. No, they're really good. They're really good. All of them. We said that.
The part 2 one where I don't know why it's so good. You know, he just says, "Right, cut it open." I don't know why it's so good.
Right, cut it open.
That is my favourite cliffhanger. That's so good. Yeah.
It's down the best.
It's not for me. It's part 4, just the astronaut just reaching over while
that is a great
on the
one.
table. That's amazing.
Oh no, the gun for me. It was the gun when when he just gets his gun and it's on the doctor and it's boo, and it was just like cut out and I was like, oh.
Yeah. So into part 2.
Sorry, listeners.
Sorry, we've just completely spoiled it for you.
I'm just going to go through my notes here and just see what I put here. We've said about that. We said about the tape vanishing. So then there's this prisoner, isn't there? And they have to interrogate him and he escapes. There's a lot of escaping and back and forth. It's 7 episodes, though, so what do you expect?
I'm going to be honest. Between like 2 and 3, between 1, 2 and 3, I really struggled to keep track of all the people. It helped that they were getting knocked off because it was less to keep track of. I couldn't, like, you're saying names and I'm like, I don't remember who that person was.
A lot of stories fall foul of that, I think. Like Inferno does a very similar thing in Series 8, where there's a lot of characters going in and out, and there's a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, so you have like that doctor come in, like the guy who had really crazy hair, and he's like, a bit suspicious, and he's like, I'm going to shoot you, and it's like, and then later on he's dead, and I'm like, okay, that's one less to remember. Like, there's a lot of that sort of stuff.
So just generally then, it was difficult to keep up who was on what side.
Yes, it was.
It is a bit, yeah. I think I've watched this a couple of times and I only really got it this time round, I think.
There was one point where Mark went to me, hang on, so is he? And I went, Mark, I don't know. Like, I haven't got a clue. Like, I'm not the one to ask.
I think that's the brilliant part about it, though, that there are so many that you're never ever sure who is who, really, and you're always trying to figure it out. Like, it requires you to use your brain to get it a little bit. I mean, I felt like I was quite fine with it, but like Inferno again. Sorry, I keep going to Inferno, but Inferno.
Don't ruin anything.
I'm trying
no
my
spoilers.
best. It's very. You'll see what I mean when you get to it, but it is very similar sort of character interactions going on, and I really like that in Pertwee's era, along with like all the action and gunfights and everything. It's really,
I do usually like the action, but I the one in episode 2, I didn't have a clue what was going on. I've got to say, there's bombs dropping and stuff, and
So you've got the capsule. That they've gone to collect the capsule. Unit are getting the capsule, aren't they? And they get it on the truck, and then smoke bombs come down from the helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
And that defeats Unit straight away. They can't deal with smoke bombs.
Aliens, not a problem. Smoke bombs, not a chance.
And luckily, Bessie is a bit slow, or he's taking ages to park it or something, so the doctor is out of the way at the time, and then manages to get
he
it
couldn't
back.
find it in the car park. He was a bit delayed.
Well, he's got the
getting on.
anti-theft device, which is a very comic book kind of TV action.
It's proper Batman, like Adam West Batman moment. Like
Yeah.
that's what I call a bit of Pertwee trolling, and it's great.
So I could really picture the first Doctor doing something similar, like when he's like, "Oh, come on, help," and then like him giggling away as he leaves them. It's quite first Doctor.
It stands out though because you got all that sort of serious, you got the science stuff in this, you got all the action stuff, and then the anti-thief device. It's like, it doesn't fit, does it?
Just holding their arms on the car.
Don't worry. It'll switch itself off. Eventually.
I've got this signed, right, the DVD, but I wasn't really sure by who. So it says here, to Mark something.
Can I have a go?
I don't know who that is. I don't think it's the main person, because I was at an event a couple of years ago, and you know when you sort of go and there was like tokens for all the people there, so it didn't matter like if you saw them or not. And I was queuing up probably to see Annika Wills or something, and then this guy from Ambassadors of Death was just at his table, and there was no one was really interested, and I just had to stand in front of this table for half an hour in this queue. So I thought, well, I might as well get it signed by him, whoever he is.
It wasn't Ralph Cornish, was it? I'd be so jealous if it's Ralph Cornish.
No, I think it's the scientist guy that talks to the Doctor and Liz for a couple of scenes. I think
The one he's in Pertwee's era a couple of times, isn't he? He pops up a couple of times.
no idea. I'll put a picture up if anyone can work out who he is. He seemed all right, but I didn't really. I don't know, I just wasn't bothered. I was like, well, if you're here, I've got this. There you go. Obviously, now I'd appreciate it more, and I'd be like, wow, Ambassadors of Death, tell me all about it.
Of course you would.
What was it like in the space
you would.
station? But at the time, I wasn't bothered. So then we get the voice from the capsule. When they get the capsule, that is, and then it builds up to that cut it open bit. That is so good because it's just the voice.
Oh, yeah.
And it's go, and how many beans make 5?
Oh, yeah, we Googled that.
So Sarah had to look up after the doctor asked that question.
How many beans do make 5?
And you didn't get an answer.
I actually know what that meant, I was really confused.
It's apparently a sign of intelligence. It's like a question. There's no answer. It's just a question you ask to someone as a sign of intelligence.
Oh, is it like No Soap Radio? Like the sort of anti-question, as it were?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So there's like loads of times in like history. It goes back to like the 1800s. I think it could be further than that. They pose it as this thing. And there's not an answer, but it's something you say to test of someone's intelligence.
Yeah, because somebody who doesn't know what it means will try and give you an answer even though there isn't one. That's all.
Yeah, I guess it's to just check how people respond. I don't know, but I was like, how many beans do make 5? I don't know.
I just thought the script writers were on drugs. That's what I thought.
That too, maybe.
You can edit that out if you want.
But then we find out that there's nobody inside the capsule. Again, another mystery.
Yeah.
So it's keeping the interest, or was it keeping your interest by part 3?
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I thought like it's quite an intrigue. If you didn't know what was going on, obviously, like you're the best person to do this. But if you didn't know what's going on, I felt like it was quite a good mystery.
Yeah, I wanted to know what was happening. I can't. Look, all in all, I think this could have been 5 instead of 7. I think that's like there's a lot of padding throughout. You maybe 6. 7 was a lot.
It bloody goes slow towards the end.
Yeah.
It does.
Can't lie.
I feel like at this point, I still don't know, but I'm also like, there are 4 episodes to go, and like. Do you know what I mean? We've got it down. We see, look, no one's here. Okay, well, now we've got 4 episodes of figuring that out. That's kind of what's going on in my head at this point.
So my other notes for part 3 is Liz has a really cool hat.
Oh, yeah, you loved her hat.
She has the white hat.
Mark was like, oh, Liz's hat.
Yeah, no, it is good.
And then we find out with General Carrington, he was on Mars Probe 6, so... That's when I wrote, is he good or bad? Because I couldn't work it out at that point. I couldn't remember.
I don't really understand his whole motivation. At the end, like, and the doctor's like going, yeah, it was your moral duty. And I'm like, what was his moral duty?
Well, so he's not like a villain baddie, is he?
I thought it was a subtle aside to military propaganda and how, you can't question right or wrong if you believe that something is wrong. Because when it's like drilled into you that you've seen a threat, you must destroy it type thing. I thought it was a subtle aside to that, maybe, Doctor Who getting a bit political. And you'll see as things go on in the Pertwee era, it's not afraid to do that quite a lot. But there's a lot of like high concept politics in the Pertwee run, I think. And you start to see that coming in. I mean, Inferno does it, Peladon does it. I'm stop spoiling you. Okay?
I knew it was coming.
What does Inferno not do? That's what I want to know.
You'll find out.
It's really good.
I can't help it. It's like it's one of my favourite stories. I can't help it. I always go on about it.
But apart from the Inferno bit, I completely agree. Because I don't know. But
sorry, I just want to pick it up before you get
No, I agree. I think it's I sort of saw it as he's a soldier, and anything that's a threat therefore has to be destroyed. That's like, so to him, that's his like duties. That's how I saw it too.
Yeah, but they're not a threat though. So
yeah, but he sees it doesn't matter because they're in
there.
Space.
He's been up there and got them.
Yeah, but one of them killed because they didn't know that touch would kill. But to him, it's like, you killed one of us, you can kill, therefore you must be destroyed.
But he doesn't destroy them. He takes them back to Earth so he can use them to
like rob places.
No, but that's not him. No, it's the other guy.
Regan is his underling who's trying to use it for his own ends.
Yeah,
But I thought he hired him to do that.
Yeah,
Carrington hired him.
But he's no. He hired him just to store them. He's like, tell me about these things, and he starts using them to do bad because he realized.
What's he storing them for?
Yeah, because he must know because that they've come down as like ambassadors, and so he's storing them so that because I can't remember, he just sort of says something, doesn't he? Well, maybe he doesn't.
He does it and gets them to start murdering people and doing bad things so that he can put them on the telly and show the entire world, oh look, we're being invaded, oh god, oh no,
yeah, it could be
have to nuke the mothership, go on.
But is he bothered about the 3 astronauts that are up there?
No,
is he out?
No.
I mean, they're happy watching the 1966 World Cup again. They're happy with that.
I don't know.
Because then you've got the government guy who I thought was behind it, and then he gets killed, doesn't he?
Yeah.
In a bit.
Anyone you think it could be
everybody
gets
is
killed.
involved in this thing. It's just too complicated.
Apart from the guy from the Dominators.
I can't.
He's pure. He is pure.
Yeah. Even though, like the newscaster man is also sort of pure as well up until like right at the end.
He just does as he's told. Yeah, he does at least. What is Dominators Man called? Because I can't keep calling him Dominators
do you
Man.
know what?
He's called Ralph Cornish in this story.
Cornish. Okay, so Cornish. Thank you. Who needs Mark?
I've got it written down somewhere.
So he's great because he understands that like the possibilities of this. That's why he's that isn't like why would we just shoot that? You can't just shoot that. We need to like work out.
Well, he's a scientist, isn't he?
So understanding.
He's a voice of moral reason, isn't he?
Yeah, see, you come around to him. I love Cornish.
Well, we find out the astronauts need radiation. And then, okay, I'm going to get to my favourite bit. Liz driving Bessie in the action sequence, running across the weir. That is amazing. I love that.
That is why she was wearing a hat.
Another brilliant cliffhanger as well.
It is.
Yeah.
As well.
She just goes, I was just like.
Well, I'm sorry, Liz. Like,
Well,
that isn't
stunt
Liz.
Liz.
Stunt
Stunt
Liz.
Yeah.
That's why long hair, hat, stunt Liz does a lot.
But it's really good.
Put it this way, the next time they use a hat that well to cover up a stunt double is in Red Dwarf for the BBC. You all know what I'm referring to there?
I'm trying to remember.
Kachansky in
Of course,
series
yeah.
2. Yeah, it's one of
Yeah.
I think it's the costume designer, I think, in that final scene, because like the Kachansky that they had finished filming, and they knew they had to add her back in late on in the productions for that scene, so they had to put her in a hat for the best. Yeah.
For listeners, this is a Doctor Who podcast.
Sorry, I had to mention that little bit of. If you ever listen to our podcast, you know that I'll just go on pop culture science fiction all the time.
So Liz is Liz is a hostage now. And this, yeah. So in part 4, Doctor, what's his name? Tertullian. We call him Dr. Tertullian.
Dr. T.
Dr. T.
Frenchman with
Ralph. But with the bomb and the briefcase and all of that.
The information I need is in my car. I will go and fetch it. You will wait for me here?
Yes, all right.
I thought that was really good, tense moment, because you know that he's got the bomb there and the doctor's in the same room. The doctor sort of must know because he's right in the corner of the room. Really far away. Unnaturally, just far in the corner.
I think the thing that makes the tension for that, though, is like when you see him setting up the briefcase and he's explaining it to him, you have 50 minutes to get away. And then there's just a subtle zoom in on the camera where he winds the clock back so it'll go off as soon as he flicks the latches down. And you, as the audience, know he's got no idea. And it's like, it's really tense for that reason as well, because you just think, well, both of them are going to go here. There's no way out.
No offense, but like, as if I was the doctor and I saw that guy coming in who looks shady as fuck, like, you're like, have you thought about it? It's like, yes. I'm like, you have something going on here. I'm not going anywhere near you. There is something dodgy. And he's like, it looks like he's like sweating loads and like this. It's like,
yeah, I'd be
I've
keeping
seen
away from
kids
it.
nicking sweets from Sweet Shop look less nervous than he is.
yeah, he's doing nothing to be subtle. I mean, like, he didn't want to do it. I get it, but
then when you see, I mean, that cut as well, when the explosion starts and it just cuts away. And then the doctor gets a plaster on his face.
Oh, we had a lot of talk
which
about
was like
this.
a big discussion here. Yes.
There's a big discussion.
And when it disappeared as well, because I don't think we noticed, it just suddenly wasn't there.
No, we noticed it go, but I didn't. So you said...
You were looking at your phone and didn't notice he had a plaster. And then you were like, oh, he's got a plaster on his face.
Who does he think he is, Nelly?
So we talked about Nelly and looked up a picture of Nelly, who has a plaster.
Yeah, so I did not notice after that bomb him having a plaster on his face, and then suddenly I'm like, why has he got a plaster on his face? And
I can't say I've never noticed. I've literally never noticed the plaster.
I noticed it.
It's like for about 3, maybe 4 scenes, and then he's peeled.
No, it's not that long.
It's mad because there's
the doctor
nothing.
can take more G than a normal human can, so obviously explosions just don't affect him. You'll very soon work out that John Pertwee is invincible. He cannot be stopped. He's like the Terminator of doctors. He just like nothing phases him. He's absolutely unkillable.
There's nothing of
survives
Dr.
a lot.
T left, is there? It's literally just nothing left of him.
Yeah. Then you get Big John there, just like
And he's not
It's not a big room. He's not that
like,
far away.
One little plaster. I mean,
I didn't even see the plaster mark. I swear they were like, oh, he should probably look injured. Next scene, let's just put a plaster on his face. I swear there was not a plaster on his face after that explosion.
well, they went to the effort of thinking, okay, something must have happened there. I don't have any other notes for part 4, so I think this is where I started to get slightly off concentration.
It's about around where I went, because like he's in that capsule going up for ages, isn't he? With the blue light, and it's just like that sort of stone-faced control woman who just doesn't have any change of emotion.
Oh my
yes.
You mean,
Yes.
Dream.
what voice woman?
She's class.
And all she does is look at the camera. She's
just
like, hi. Blah, 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 blah.
Yes, we talked about her a lot. Yeah,
And then she like gives like this lie to the camera, like really sexy eye, like execute now. Like she's just like
the doctor's like literally
Works for me, 10 out of 10 as far as
the doctor's literally dying in this rocket, and she just doesn't even raise like a semitone. But then she just scream right at the very end.
that is her moment. That is her one moment.
That was the only time.
Apertures will not close on automatic owing to excessive heat. Lift-off speed now 30% in excess.
It's the camera eye that gets it for me, because it's really like sultry. She's like really made up. Her makeup's like perfect. She's really glam, and all her lines are delivered like straight into the lens. So she's like, you know.
It's so late 60s, early 70s that as well. Like, it's the only time you'll see that in like British television or any like, American TV, that you'll get she is just there for like eye candy, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It's the truth, like that's just there to sell to the dads, and I'm sure that this has been. I think that's John Nathan Turner said something similar to Tegan, the actress that plays Tegan, didn't he? I think in the 80s. Am I right in thinking that?
Don't know. Sounds like you're making things up to me.
Anyway. Yeah, like it's a sign of like the sort of sexism, like, well, not sexism, but like, it's sexism. No, you're right.
Because
the sort of like sexism of the times that permeated, film of that era,
I expected, like going into this, it to be a lot worse. And it's just around now that I'm starting to like notice. No, it's interesting because Liz is like amazing. Like I'm really I'm doing Liz, don't I?
Yeah, Liz.
Just check I've got the right name. I'm terrible with names. I'm really team Liz, even though I can't remember her name. I think she's great, but she's just always glam. And it's like, this is like, right, you can be as clever as you want. You can be as genius level as the Doctor almost, but you are a woman and therefore you have perfect hair all the time and you look perfect all the time. I mean, she's wearing that hat. All right, it's because I got a stunt double.
But she has a whole action sequence and she drives Bessie and she does all of that stuff.
In big heels, and like that hat does not move. It just kind of shows this sort of like this glamorous, like clever one but she has to look glam the whole time. That's not real. Where it's like, you think of the main characters and things happen and, they get like roughed up a bit, or the Doctor gets a plaster,
Cornish is pretty glam, that Cornish.
Yeah, I mean, that perm is sort of got going on. Like, I'll say this about Doctor Who: like this era, it seems to give with one hand and take with the other a little bit. It's not like Blake 7, where it's like all sort of like that, like very sort of. Done as much for look as for action, if you get what I'm saying. It's still trying to break new ground. And I mean, like, we see it in Web of Fear with what's his Thingy's daughter.
Anne.
And she has some really good moments in that, in terms of like female empowerment in the late 60s. For someone who's playing a female role in a very male-dominated science fiction show. And you see it here with Liz as well. Like, I really like Liz in Pertwee's era because she's a match for him. And it's the first time we've seen a Doctor Who companion that isn't so much a follower as an equal. And I think if they'd have done Clara like they'd done Liz...
Oh, God.
I mean, big leap, but I think it would have been a lot better.
I think the 60s is better than the 70s for it. So I think you're probably going to see worse things now when you think you probably would have seen them in the 60s.
Because, I mean, I got annoyed when they'd be like, Polly, can you go and make us a cup of tea? That annoyed me.
Well, actually, Liz makes a cup of tea at the beginning of this story for the Doctor.
Yeah, but she's not, like, been sent off to do it. She's done it maybe as, like, as an equal. That's the one thing, actually, was... But the Doctor always does, because the Doctor does see his companions as equals in that way.
Well, actually, they're split up quite a lot in this story. Liz has her own stuff to get on with most of the time.
She's got her own shit going on.
She's got her own. Yeah, she's all sorts happens to her. She's hostage and...
She has a really good line, actually, when, like, the guy, I can't remember, he says, like, he says, oh, don't be scared of her or something. She's like, what do you think I'm going to do? Eat you? It's really good.
It's just a shame that, one, there are so many men in this. I mean, it is really male heavy, other than Liz.
Yeah, but because it's you.
Apart from her and the announcer.
Yeah,
and that's
it.
Woman, that's
That
it.
is it.
That is it.
No, there is another woman at the beginning. I don't think it's the same one.
Is she killed?
Doctor somebody. There's Doctor somebody, and she has a few lines at the beginning because I wrote her down, and then she never turned up again. But no, what's the name of this one that says all the announcements? Anyway, she's going to be in my list of women.
I know I checked in the credits, said it's literally just like Control Unit Woman.
Control Unit Woman.
I don't think she's killed. I know it's a bit tragic.
Control Unit Woman. Yeah, Control Unit Woman. Yes.
Can you please have the image just be her giving a sultry look?
Yes.
Because she does so many of those.
I'm going to make some merch.
Mark's favourite job.
She just doesn't give a toss when the Doctor's like dying. She just doesn't give a toss. She's getting a job done.
Yeah.
That could be it. Don't give a toss like Commander.
Don't give a toss like Control Unit Woman.
That's it. Yes. That's the t-shirt.
Love it.
With a sultry look.
Oh, if she ever does a signing, she's going to get my DVD done. Yeah.
Maybe that's who you've got it signed by.
I don't know what it says.
Imagine.
I don't know. So what have I got? Yeah, so part 5. Well, actually, part 5, I said to Sarah, I was like, do you recognise that character? That's Benton, who was in the invasion.
Oh, yeah, you did say
and
that.
you didn't remember him.
No.
Yes.
His second appearance.
And then you went, I was like, who's Benton? You're like, yeah, Benton. I was like, what? And then you went with Isabel.
He drove Isabel to the hole, yeah.
And you decided that they were a couple, so yes, then I remembered. You did?
No, that was a different one.
Then I don't know who he is.
No, you don't know. Anyway, he's in...
I thought he was the guy that ended up with.
No, he's not going out with Isabel, no.
Oh.
Anyway.
No, I don't know that.
And then you've got, actually, the character of Lennox we've not talked about, who is stuck with Liz as a hostage.
Oh, yeah,
that
weedy
guy. Who's
guy.
from Tomb of the Cybermen?
Yeah.
I've got nothing to say about him, really. He's just
not really. Just
a bit of a weed, isn't he?
Oh.
He's just a bit wet,
but the way that he gets killed, though, when he goes with the isotope thing in his prison cell, that was a very good moment.
Yeah, it was.
It's a shock reveal as well. Like, you know what, though? Is it Benson who brings that to him on the platter as well? I mean, I know he doesn't know, but...
You don't see.
It's never revealed.
But I'm sure he says, says to lock the door. He says, like, don't worry, I will, or something like that. Is Benson actually evil?
It could be.
It could be him. Yeah.
Benton.
Yeah, you don't know. It could be, because you see the arm and it's like a unit soldier.
I don't think it was, because I remember hearing his voice a bit different, because Benton's very, more upbeat in his tone.
No spoiler, but Benton will pop up again in the future, as you can probably tell. Why we keep saying Benton. Can you just keep an eye out in case he does anything else shifty? Can we see if he's actually a bit of a serial killer on the slide?
I think we've stumbled onto another one of our world famous theories, Luke.
Yeah, is Benton a serial killer
in his spare time? Yeah.
Just handing out those radiation things.
Cash. Just got one in the back pocket just in case.
And then we have the Doctor going up into space.
I like that.
With all the G-force and stuff. Really well done. Oh my gosh.
The G-force face was hilarious.
That's a pertwee face,
It looked like his face was melting.
Oh,
It
you'll
was-
get loads of good perch.
You get
in
loads
face.
of-
Oh, it's fantastic.
But it's interesting they've decided to do that. It shows for this series they're trying to go for the realism because, like, last series when did the Dr. Jamie and Zoe go into space? In Seeds of Death, they're just like they put a seatbelt on, don't they, and just sit in an office chair. But now, in a series later, they're really going for the
No, they had
G-force and
faces, just not as much.
Yeah, well, not
It
as
wasn't as
much.
melted.
Don't like tip upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's like a.
When you say tip upside down, you mean spin the camera around. Like,
Well, yeah.
it's not. I mean, it's the one problem I had with it. Like that was where the bad special effects comes in. But they were, I was talking about you saying that the Web Planet was trying. This was trying, and I really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you can't compare these.
I really liked it. I thought it was quite I liked how sort of homespun it was. I guess.
I didn't think G-force. I just thought like, his face is like rubber.
Well, he does it a bit in Spearhead, doesn't he? They use, at the beginning when that thing's around his neck.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I don't like the Pertwee gurn.
Gurning.
No. There's too many of that. There's about 3 or 4 cliffhangers in Silurians, which is the gurn, I think.
The gurn.
Well, it's a bit too much already.
No,
I love the space rocket stuff though. At any time, like Doctor Who does, that sort of 1969 space rocket stuff, you can't help but like it, can you?
And I'm sure at the time, like, I don't know, the kids would have loved anything where they're sending the Doctor up in space in a rocket. That's quite cool, I guess.
I love the fact that this was 1969. We just landed on the moon in real life, and now we're already at Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's meant to be set a bit in the future, though, isn't it?
I know. Well,
We don't know.
in controversy, we actually don't know when it was.
We haven't got that. Oh, we haven't even talked about.
Well, it's not a spoiler or anything. There's no real answer. It's just meant to be like a bit further in, isn't it?
Yeah,
presumably.
That's not a spoiler, is it?
Well, no, yeah, I know. We'll talk about
We've not talked about it.
when it's set or anything. Yeah,
No one knows when it's set. That's
It's basically it is the 70s, but it's the 70s in a world where we're getting to Mars.
Or is it the 80s?
Yeah.
Well, I think
bit of real world history for you. There was actually plans to get to Mars in 1982 for NASA, or just after they landed on the moon.
Oh. And you guys got up there and you're still up there.
Seriously, I'm not taking the piss. Honestly, that was what they were going to do if they maintained the funding levels that they had for Apollo. That's what they would have tried to do.
But
I see, yeah.
Then they saw this and they thought, oh no.
I don't understand. When was the last people on the moon? Like the 80s?
1972.
Oh no, it was like 72. It's like 3 years.
Okay, so it was really like tricky to do at the time. Surely by now it's easier to do. Why haven't they? I just think it's weird they've not
It
gone
costs
back.
a lot of money, Mark.
Yeah, I know, but
We've just had 3 I say astronauts. They're not astronauts, are they officially? But 3 people going to space like 2 or 3 weeks
but I just
ago.
think it's weird they've not been back to the moon. I just think
They are slated to go back in 2023. There's a set of missions called Artemis. You can look it up online. Really, really interesting stuff. That's going to use the Orion capsule, and the set to go back for 2023. Elon Musk with SpaceX as well. He's already chartered a orbital flight around the moon for 2023 as well from a Japanese fashion designer.
Solid answer.
okay.
Mark, that's you told.
Okay, when they go, yeah, okay, fine.
Anyway, you are still watching a Doctor Who podcast.
Yeah. Well, when they get up there, we'll just see, as long as they can meet the ambassadors and sort everything out and we don't have any issues, it'll be fine.
I think the reason
Nazis.
I think the reason we haven't gone back is just because there's nothing there and nothing to do there for the money that it costs.
Yeah, because the reason they're talking about Mars so much is because they think at one time Mars had life.
Right.
But it's that bit further away. So we couldn't live on Mars, whereas the moon is the moon. There's no proof of life on the moon or anything. So it's like, move on.
The moon is to be used as a test bed to get to Mars, effectively. It's like a long-term test of can you live in space for over, 2 or more years on another world. Like similar to what they've done with the ISS, with the long-duration missions over there. But it's just like the next step to that. So obviously travel to Mars as well.
Would you go to the moon if you could?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Easy. Get away from all the noise.
Monsters don't like flying.
You don't like flying, do you?
I don't like flying. I was just thinking, I was like, I don't think I can get that far. Like 40 minutes on a plane is enough for me. I don't think I'm going to be able to get
flying to
there.
Ireland was too traumatic.
Going to Ireland was just too much. So I need a bit more practice, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway.
A bit more practice. Get to the moon.
No, like flying, just generally flying. Like, and then maybe I'll try and go to the moon.
That's your logical next
Well,
step.
the
Thanks,
doctor
Mark.
doesn't have any problems. He passes all them tests straight away, doesn't he?
Well, yeah,
I don't know
because
how
he's
quick
from
they turn that
space.
around. Yeah. Yeah, he's up there. So then we see, you said it was like the oyster in space, that thing.
Oh,
the
yeah, I said it looked like an
ambassadors.
oyster.
So he lands there. And then it's then I put lads in space because they're all sitting around watching.
Yeah, lads. I think that's a really good twist. I mean, like, it'd be a lot better if the Doctor didn't spoil it in episode 2 and say that they're still up there. Because I feel like if you weren't told that he got there and they were there, it's actually quite good.
But
Yeah.
you'd be not expecting that situation there. It's a bit of a. Yeah, it's a twist of like.
It reminds me of David Whittaker's Enemy of the World with the basement underground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
underground.
Yeah. Except it's up there instead.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you need that by this point, like episode 6. You need that extra something new because
I agree. I wish they hadn't said, like, if he'd have been like, I think we need to investigate more than, yeah, they're still up there. Because I think then it would have been like they're completely fine. Oh my gosh. And it would have been that.
You'd be expected to see aliens, I think, and then you get that. But instead, we just ruined it all.
Well, you know what we need to do? Someone needs to cut like the opening 1.5 minutes of that. You know what they're just going on about the football. Somebody needs to cut over that. It's coming home. It's coming.
And then, okay, we're sort of heading towards skipping ahead a lot. We're heading towards the end of the story. Episode 7, it's just too long. It's just more astronaut. We've seen the astronauts. They're out again doing their blasting thing.
Dream sequency, slow walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was really effective when we first saw it. But then now we've seen it again. It's just too much. Oh, and we haven't actually talked about the actual ambassador. The actual alien that we briefly see.
Oh yeah, it's blue face, isn't he? Is he blue?
So he's behind these blinds, and I feel like he's moving his arms because usually you'd get the monster and the mouth would be going in the mask when talking, but because there's no face or anything, the arms have to do the sort of talking movements. So he's there, standing there, going like, waving his arms. It's just
behind some blinds.
And okay. They keep it sort of vague, but I think it's a bit too vague.
But we do see their face later, don't we? Because he takes the...
There's like that one really quick shot of the face later
and they're blue.
on.
I think I feel like they were definitely selling it on the basis of the space suits, and that is the image you come away with as well.
And the design is so cool that I just erase whatever they're meant to look like. I can't even remember really.
I just remember blue. I just remember
that's all it is. That's all it is. It's just blue.
It's just
just a blue
blob.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to get an action figure like that, are you? You're just going to get the spacesuit. That would be cool. But you're not going to get a blue.
Balhoun before he got fat.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a bit. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm disappointed by it because you're expecting to see something, I don't know, horrific or shocking, or actually it's good that they've kept it.
I think it could have given the story a bit more of an extra kick, couldn't it? I suppose if there was a proper alien in it, and it'd make it feel more Doctor Who-y, which is maybe what the big criticism is.
I like that the fact that it is the suit that is the monster as well. Like I like that sort of like it's a very human element that has been like twisted and deformed into such like something that can kill you at just one touch. It's like I just think that's like Doctor Who at its best, and I like it when Doctor Who does subtle monsters, especially in this early era, because obviously the special effects aren't as good, and I really liked it. I think the design was brilliant. I think the space suits looked absolutely class all the way through, like real space space suits. I mean, you've seen the moon base with the big blooming bubble head.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be as effective.
Oh, imagine if you did that instead.
This is how you do space suits. That's it.
I'm assuming they can actually control the fact that they kill people, though, because I was a bit unsure about. Because they don't want to kill anyone, but
I think it's just their touch. It's just whatever they touch.
I think it's because they're so radioactive.
So they can because the guy Regan just tells them what to do, but why are they killing people if they don't want to do it? Or do they literally have to walk up to that person and touch them?
I think they have to do it because of the radiation. They don't have because obviously if they take away the radioactive sources, they're going to die, and obviously they're trapped.
That would make a lot more sense, actually. Yeah. How come that policeman gets up off the floor as well?
Fucking
I didn't get that. Everyone else who's touched dies. Policeman just stands up. I didn't get that.
Because he's a Chad, unstoppable.
He'll probably have his own story in the future.
What they're not telling you is it's the same policeman from the first episode. That's what they're not telling
you. Benson will be after him.
Yeah. We've skipped way ahead because the Doctor makes that device to talk to them. Carrington tries to take over. The Brig has a good punch-up in episode 7. I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed that because he got battered everywhere else. So to see him actually get a good punch in on the episode 7 was quite nice.
He's got to win at least one fight.
He's always about 5 steps behind everyone. How come he takes about 2 hours to go and see Lennox? Honestly, he's he's waving the Doctor off on his little rocket, going, "Oh, see you later." Spends about 2 hours at the base just waiting for Lennox to die.
You know what? The Brig and the Doctor have a proper bromance in this episode, I think. It's like watching Brief Encounter at some point.
Because the last one, I felt that the Brigadier and the Doctor just not on the same page at all.
Well, the Brigadier blew up the Silurians.
Yeah, but even before then, they just weren't. And this one, I agree, they seem to be a bit more even though he's very dismissive, he seems to be a bit more okay, work with him, work together, we're friends. Maybe it's because Liz isn't around. So his only other companion that knows him and knows to trust him is the Brigadier.
Maybe there's a love triangle going on between the three of them. I feel a lot of tension in that space.
The Doctor was pretty happy to see Liz again. Let's just say that.
And then, just skipping right to the end, you've had 7 episodes to sort all this stuff out, and it's still not sorted out by the end. The Doctor's shakes everyone's hand and walks off. Liz will sort the rest out.
He does as well.
It's like John Pertwee saying they finished filming, and he's like, "Right, done for the day. See you later, everyone." It might as well be that. It's such a weird ending, considering you've had all that time to sort stuff out.
But also, it's weird that he's just completely dismissive of sorting it out.
Exactly.
Considering that, he went up to space, he was the one that talked and was like, "I promise we'll get these ambassadors back to you," and all this. And he's like, "Yeah, all right, Liz will do it. Bye."
Yeah, but Cornish is so trusting and understanding that I'd leave anything to Cornish to sort out. He'd get the job done.
He is very, very good.
Yeah.
No, it is a weird ending, and to be honest, a lot throughout the story just seems to happen off screen, if you know what I mean. And then you think it's going really slow, and then suddenly something will happen because something's happened off screen.
Because that last episode, a lot happens, and again, classic Doctor Who, everything is tied up in the last 5-10 minutes, but a lot happens, and that's where I was like, do you know what? We've just had 6 episodes. A lot of this could have happened sooner. Or at least the episode before. Yeah. It just felt like a lot of story in this last... A lot of big things in this last moments and a lot to tie up.
I suppose if you're watching this week by week, though, I think maybe then it's not a one to binge, I don't think. I know I haven't even been in... sort of told you about all the recolorization and all that kind of stuff. For going into colour for this series, same with the Silurians, it's all a bit beige and a bit bland, I think.
Really?
It's not the best quality either. Although I suppose what's coming is so colourful and so sort of just vibrant. That
Are you talking about Inferno?
no, bloody hell, Mark. No, just like genuinely, like the next, couple of seasons and that. That it does seem like that. The quality's quite bad as well. Like even that bit where Liz is on the bridge, it's very grainy. You're just about seeing the hat, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's what you say. See, I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was pretty colourful and good, but maybe it's just because I'm just seeing colour for the first time. Very first time.
I mean, that's the great thing about going from black and white into colour Doctor Who. It's like, wow, it's like I'm my grandma or something. I'm enjoying colour, BBC Two. That sort of feeling.
What?
It's like that sort of feeling. Like honestly, like it puts me in the shoes of someone who, like, saw Wimbledon green for the first time. Like back in the '60s. I absolutely love it.
Because particularly that intro, it's so colourful. But I think it's because I've just had black and white. Yeah, so I feel like the whole thing is.
Maybe I'm just being.
I mean, could just add about the intro as well. I wish they did that on every Doctor Who. Like, do the titles, do a little bit, and then the actual title, Sting, and then
it's so good, isn't it? It's so good.
Really good. Yeah, I don't know what the reasoning was for that, because they sort of experimented in the '60s a bit with all these different intros.
Yeah,
maybe
the whole Ice Warriors.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. So
it always seems to be the Ian Stewart Black episodes that got special treatments like that. I mean, like War Machines had that like sort of typed out intro. It's actually really, really cool.
Yeah, I like it when they do something a bit different.
Yeah, me too. Mixes it up a bit. This doesn't mean I remember them very well.
Okay. Okay, well, I think we've got through most of the story. There's probably still quite a lot that we skipped out, but that's the
talking
basics.
about. I was going to say we did just watch it all, Mark. So.
Yeah, no, we did. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So, Sarah, shall I tell you what the story is next?
Yeah.
So it's called.
Chris, tell it instead.
Okay.
Well, you see, I don't actually know what it is.
Okay.
If it's Inferno, I'm gonna cry. Please tell me it's not Inferno.
So it's called Inferno.
No.
It's supposed to be really, really good.
Oh God, I thought it was the series after. I'm so sorry.
So, okay, Inferno.
So what are you thinking?
I think it's going to be epic, and I think I think it'll be set on Earth, and I think Unit will be there.
Yeah. Okay, so it's 7 episodes again.
Yeah. Oh, right.
But then then they go shorter in the next lot. So last 7 episodes to get through.
Okay.
We can do this.
Okay.
I honestly thought it was the series after you. By the time you got to it. Oh God, I'm sorry.
Well, you can listen out for my views on that one.
Yeah.
Mark, spiel to you.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Luke and Chris, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of editing to do.
Yeah, we'll get it down. Yeah.
I just want to say this has been an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait. I hope I get on again, but then again, I know the nightmare editing out all my laughter and just general crap. So just
do you want to remind everyone where they can find your podcast and yourselves on social media?
Yeah, Lost on Gallifrey on Facebook and Twitter. But yeah, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as Chris lengthily said at the beginning. We're doing Last Orders at the moment. It's about a 40-minute show where we just have a chat about Doctor Who like we're in a pub.
And you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at 2WatchWho. And you can support us at buymeacoffee.com/2watchwho. And we'll see you next week for Inferno.
Bye.
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 2 Watch Who.